Well, first of all, again, I would like to thank all of you very much, the producers, the members, and of course Mustafa and his team for the opportunity to join you for this fascinating and fantastic tasting. The organisation has been impeccable and it's given me a really valuable first overview of Turkish wine. I'd also like to make a special thank you to the translator for all your hard work. You've had a very small, but I can assure you, a very grateful audience, so thank you. Turkish wine is something that I have been slightly associated with for just over a year when my company started importing 2 wines from Turkey to add to the list of 20 countries that we represent. But I hadn't had the chance to come here before and see so many wines in one place. Turkey has, for me, a particular fascination. There's a fascinating paradox in Turkish wine in that you have one of the oldest traditions of viticulture in the world. From what I've read, at least 6,000 years. You can probably tell me longer than that. And yet, you have entered the modern wine industry, the modern world of wine, very recently, rapidly, and almost from a standing start. I'm well aware of the obstacles, both climatic and political, that you face. So it really is, for me, testament to the hard work of all the producers in Turkey whose wines we've tasted, that the selection of wines presented over these 2 days is without doubt of international standard. That's already to your enormous credit. There is clearly a high level of technical expertise in Turkey among Turkish viticulturalists and winemakers. So for me, the question is, what next? How do you get to the next level? It's not easy, and it's not obvious. But happily, there are other countries that have made big strides in the last 20 years that perhaps we can learn from. Spain and Argentina in particular spring to mind as countries with dramatically good viticultural resources who perhaps in the last 5 years have really started to find their own voice in the modern wine era in a way that they never have before. And so I have a few humble suggestions based on patterns that I've witnessed from their side that I would like to offer you. The first one is that they have moved from the philosophy whereby the winemaker creates the quality of the wine to one where the winemaker is the guardian of the quality produced in the vineyard. And this change has, I think, been the most fundamental shift in some of these wine-producing countries. Have started to learn not to do more to the grapes than the grapes themselves can take. And the idea that you produce a premium wine by taking the same crop and working harder with it is happily diminishing in those places. And so for anyone looking to reach the next level of premium, I would say, do it first of all in the vineyard. That's where quality begins. And of course, you have an advantage over Argentina, at least, and the other countries of the New World, in that you have indigenous varieties to play with. Vinifera almost started here, so you have a head start that would be the envy of a lot of countries outside Europe. It gives you 2 advantages. You can avoid comparisons with worldwide wines. If you give me a Merlot, I have 100 that I can compare it to from all parts of the world instantly, and then you're just in a race. Whereas if you give me a Boiscarré, I have no reference. And you can taste this in the wines as well. There seemed to be a confidence in the wines, a resonance with you in the way the wines came across when I tasted them from the local varieties. But having said that, there are some imported varieties that seem to work very well. The Cabernet Sauvignons, I thought in particular, stood out as very successful. There's a noble grape whose nobility is expressed, I think, in Turkey. And I particularly enjoyed the other reds category, and I'm itching to know which varieties corresponded to which wines because there were some exceptionally good ones. I expect that you had some Mediterranean varieties there rather than classic central French varieties, and this may be the key. Take wine varieties from another Mediterranean climate, they may well succeed here. Another suggestion, be ruthless with your coopers. For those of you using oak, don't let them get away with anything. Barrel makers are under pressure, Everyone needs barrels. Wine production is increasing in the world, and the best barrels will go to those who shout the loudest, and often those who live the closest. Well, you can't move your winery to the center of France, but you can shout louder to make sure that the grapes you've worked all year round to produce will not be spoiled by lower quality oak. Rotate your stock. If you're making fresh white wines or rosé wines, and I agree with Clem that the rosé flight was a pure delight, rotate the stock. Don't let it get too old. And this comes as a distributor who's seen so many times wines in stock, waiting to be sold, going down in value past their peak every time, and in the end needing to be destroyed. Nothing is more dangerous to a wine distributor or a winery than to drown in its own stock. So even if your margins are hit, it's better to start on the fresh vintage and go forward with confidence. And finally, never give up. It's very difficult to do what you do, and it will stay being very difficult. Other countries have had a head start, but Turkey has so much to offer. And I, for one, really look forward to following your development with a lot of interest. Thank you very much.